Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Julia Kavanaugh, and I'm a teacher at the Postpartum Doula Academy and Gentle Ventures.
And I am Nancy Ham, and I am a teacher for newborn care specialists at Gentle Ventures and also Postpartum Doula Academy.
So, if you feel excited or if you feel the call after listening to these podcasts and you want to learn more about how you could be a postpartum doula or a newborn care specialist or just be a part of our team, please feel free to reach out to us in our emails. Our contact information is listed below.
And please like and subscribe so we can get this podcast known nationwide, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be great.
The more people who like and subscribe, it helps the algorithm know that people actually want to hear this content and it gets the message further out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, today we're going to talk about myths in postpartum care.
Oh boy. All
Oh,
right.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing is, I pulled up some and Julia pulled up some. I don't know what she's got. She doesn't know what I have.
that's right. That's right.
So
I'm excited, Nancy, because
I
there
know.
are a bunch.
Oh, there are. There are so many, but some of them seem like such dumb myths that I didn't even include them. It's just like,
Some of them
that's
seem
common
dumb
sense.
and some of them seem really logical.
Well, I know there's a couple here that I pulled up that I'm like, are those myths?
Yeah, okay.
Because
Okay.
because some of the stuff is stuff that I teach.
Yeah.
So we have to be really careful, and we'll talk about those.
Yes.
Um, and and I think when I teach it, I also say what I need to say. I'm not going to
Yes.
spoil it telling you what the myth is right now, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell
Stay
you when we
tuned.
get to it. I'll tell you when we
Yeah.
get to it.
Yeah.
But do you want to start or do you want me to start?
How about you start and then
Okay,
I'll jump in.
I have got a myth that I think is going to hmm, be very interesting to hear because I always thought it was true. Okay,
Okay. I'm excited. All right. Yeah.
here it
Let's hear
comes.
it. Okay.
Consuming the placenta offers health benefits.
Ooh,
Oh, I told
this is
you.
this is a good one. Okay. So I know why it's posted under myth,
Yeah,
right? And that's because there's no money in in there's no money in research about whether or not the placenta offers health benefits. The companies that do research on health benefits are looking at pharmaceuticals, they're looking
right.
at
They
vitamins
are.
that can be sold, but the placenta is something that our bodies make. So most of they say that you can't prove that it actually has benefits. I believe that that is actually true. I think the placenta does have health benefits.
Okay.
But that's more because I've had enough clients who choose to consume their placenta after birth, whether it's like through placenta encapsulation
Yeah.
or, um, gosh, okay, so this happened to my mentor, my doula mentor. She was at a birth and the woman had lost quite a bit of blood. She wasn't hemorrhaging, but she'd lost quite a bit of blood and she had like very little color in her face and it was a home birth. And the midwife took the placenta. The mom had said that she wants to eat the placenta, right? The midwife took the placenta, cut off a piece of it, put it in the blender, blended it up with water, and gave it to the mom and said, drink this. Within 3 minutes of drinking it, like blood returned to her, like she looked vibrant again.
Really?
Like energy was like restored to her. There's a ton of iron. Well, I mean, because it's a meat, it's an organ. It's an
Yeah.
organ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so there's a ton of iron in it. And it does people who take it for postpartum will take it because of the anecdotal evidence from other people who say that their hormones stayed much more level in the postpartum period, that they didn't have
Hmm.
extreme mood swings.
Yeah.
And so it's said to help balance hormones. But again, we haven't done the research into
Yeah.
this.
Well, don't
Um,
a lot, just kind of off subject, but still on subject, don't a lot of animals consume their placenta?
yes.
Yeah, that's what
Although
I thought.
in the wild, I think they do it more to like conceal the evidence
Oh, that could be too. That
to
could be.
protect their babies.
Right.
Um, and it's interesting too, because if you look at, we have two different ancient societies who have different thoughts on this.
Hmm.
In Ayurvedic medicine, you do not want to eat the organ meat because the placenta is it filtered out all of the
It's the
things
cleaner.
that is the cleaner.
It's a cleaner. Yeah.
So in India, in Indian Ayurvedic medicine, they don't eat the placenta.
Yeah.
But in Chinese medicine, which is which also has been used for thousands of years, you want to eat the placenta. You want that iron-rich organ meat. You want those hormone balancing properties. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. You've got these two very established ancient medical systems
Completely opposite.
have completely different
Yeah.
ideas.
Well,
So
and
yeah,
yeah, and the reason that they give, the reason that they back this up is just what you talked about. It may pose a risk due to the potential toxins and bacteria.
interesting.
So
Oh,
that's
yes.
yeah. So that's why they say that there's no scientific supporting benefit.
Yes.
So
Well, and that's another thing. Like if you do have a hospital birth, um,
mhm,
they will, if there's any issue with the placenta, you won't get it back.
yeah.
They dispose of it for you. Um, Also, fun information, Nancy, how much does a placenta go for on the black market?
Oh my God, I wouldn't even want to go there. Do you have an idea?
I do. $50,000.
One,
One placenta on
hey,
the black market.
I'm 75 years old. I'm getting pregnant. There's no doubt. $50,000.
$50,000. Yeah. And
Who
that,
buys those? I mean, is that I'm sorry, black market? Who buys those?
I mean, granted, I don't I don't dabble in the black market.
Oh my
I've just
God.
I've heard that that's what one can go for, and it's because the placenta is so rich with all of these stem cells. It's
Oh,
loaded with stem cells.
oh, that makes sense then. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
So it's interesting. Like
wow.
hospitals are like, do you want this? Do you want this organ? We're just gonna toss
You
it.
think they really toss them, or you think that they actually sell them?
You know what? I've wondered that myself, but I have no information
Yeah.
to say one way or the other. I mean, I'm sure they're responsible. I'm
Uh-huh.
winking.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
like
very
we're
interesting.
sitting on gold mines. We build gold mines within ourselves.
Yeah, this is true. So what do you got? What do you got?
I've got a myth for you.
Okay.
Let me see. I was like, okay, if you are breastfeeding postpartum, you will lose weight naturally. Like you won't have to do anything. The weight's just going to fall off. If you breastfeed, the weight's just going to rapidly come off quickly.
Well, we know that one feeding one baby is 1,800 calories a day.
Yes.
So that takes off a lot of calories from whatever mom's eating. So if she is trying to cut back on her eating a little bit, it could. It could just fall off. It could. But we encourage moms to eat $1,800, 1,800 calories plus another 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000. So
Isn't it 500 calories extra per baby?
500 calories extra per baby. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
like
if there's twins, then
or triplets. Like, yeah,
it's
you want to
2,200 for twins, and I can't remember what triplets are for each
I always
baby after. But I think the first baby is 1,800. But I may be wrong. You tell
well,
me.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Yeah, okay. So that's like if you as a person who's 5 feet tall eat normally 1,300 calories a day, we'd want you to eat an extra 500, which would be 1,800 calories a day.
To support the baby.
to support the breastfeeding of the baby. Yes, and the healing of the body.
Okay, so that would be your 1,800 calories.
That would be the 1800. But
Yeah,
if you normally eat 1800 calories a day and your body's happy with that because you're a taller person, then you'd want to add 500 calories onto that number. That's what I was always
so you're
confused
saying
about.
that you will not naturally lose
The
weight,
myth is that you will lose weight just by breastfeeding.
and you're saying that is not true.
Yeah, apparently it's not true, which is because I also thought that you would
Yeah,
naturally lose weight. It's like a half truth. Basically, in order to lose weight, you do need to be moving your body a bit. And you also need to be watching, what kind of foods you're eating,
right. But if you,
right?
but if you stay with the 1,800 calories, you should lose weight. I mean, basically,
Probably.
you should lose weight if you stay with that.
You know what? That makes sense. Although I really don't want my mom's counting calories for the
No,
most,
no, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
except to say, am I eating enough?
Right.
That's
And
yeah.
drinking enough, and drinking
Oh
enough.
gosh, yeah, we want
Yeah,
about 3 liters of water if
yeah,
you are breastfeeding.
yeah. And they say that that thirst is kind of like a natural thirst. You're just
Yeah.
really thirsty. And I
Yeah.
know that a lot of my moms all have this big glass of water sitting by the bed when they're nursing and they're drinking this water. And so,
Yep. Or like a Stanley cup. Have you seen those big Stanley
yep,
cups? Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
very popular
Now
stand.
I'm thirsty.
I love this one because this kind of affected me.
Tell me.
You will instantly bond with your baby.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's a myth. That's
That
a
is
myth.
a myth. I did not bond with my first baby.
Tell us about
I
it.
I did bond with my second and third. I
Yeah.
did not bond with my first baby. I
Right
think
away. Right away.
right away. It took me a while. It
Yeah.
took me a while. I think it had a lot to do with my labor and delivery
Yeah.
because I was young. I was 22 years old.
Wow.
It was my thought that this can't be that bad.
Yeah.
The doctor said, "Do you want to take Lamaze?" And I'm like, "For what? All I got to do is push this kid out. What's the
Oh my
big deal?"
God. Yeah.
And it was very, very, very traumatic for me. I had a huge, probably a 200-pound nurse sitting on my chest, trying to get my legs apart so that they could see what was going on. And then they finally just gave me a spinal block.
Yes.
Put you out
Yeah.
complete. It puts you out completely. Couldn't feel a thing. Told me when you wake up, you'll probably have a headache. I had this massive headache, which I've had ever since for like the last 50 years, except finally now I got rid of it with homeopathy. But all that together, when they said, "Do you want to see your baby?" I'm like, "Nope." And they're like, "You have to see your baby. You're here he is, and they forced him on me. And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Very indifferent to my baby. Once I got home and spent time with him, the bond was very strong. But right after birth, there was no bond. I just was like, "Yep, you can have him. Why don't you just keep him and I'll go home," type of thing. So it was real traumatic for me, but I think it had a lot to do with the birth. Yeah.
Like Nancy, even just like hearing that story, like that is that is I feel angry on behalf of you. That
Well, and
is,
of course, then my husband was not allowed in the delivery room or the labor room. So he
right.
said all I could do was sit out in the hall and listen to you scream.
Jeez.
And then for the second and third birth, I did 100% natural, no drugs, and my husband was right there with me the whole time.
What state was this in?
Alaska.
Alaska.
Alaska when I delivered him, yes. Yep.
Oh, oh God. Like and this still happens today. This
I
kind
believe that.
these things that you're talking about, I mean, it's getting better, but medical professionals um kind of inflicting their will on to a laboring woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't think that they know the ramifications that that has.
Yeah.
But it can affect bonding. Like,
Of course it can.
of course it
And,
can.
and they can also make moms, prospective moms, so guilty. So
Oh,
guilty. They talked my daughter-in-law into a C-section,
yeah.
which she didn't need,
Wow.
but talked her into it. And she said after she was home, she was so regretful. She said,
Oh,
I'm so regretful that I did that. So it's things that, but we're getting on a different subject now. We're supposed to be on, you
oh man.
instantly bond with your baby.
But this is important too. And I think that the big takeaway from this story, thank you so much for sharing it, is like doulas and newborn care specialists help afterwards. But for postpartum doulas, if you are a postpartum doula, you also might be interested in birth. And what birth doulas do is we talk with people about what their rights are.
Right.
And, the doctor, I've had so many clients come to me when I've been an active birth doula and say, like, my doctor said I should probably induce at 37 weeks, or
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
probably need to have a C-section. And a doula is just someone with that knowledge of the birth
Hmm.
who can say, that may not be true. Let's pause and gather more information.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Um,
I have gone to so many interviews where
yeah,
mom was like, yeah, the doctor's going to induce me 2 or 3 weeks before, and I'm like, why?
yeah,
And she just looks at me and she's like, well, he just said we needed to do it.
right.
And I'm like, you need to do your research. There's no reason to deliver that baby early unless there's a medical cause.
That's right.
But if he's just doing it because it's more convenient for him,
Yeah,
maybe he's going on vacation and he doesn't want to have another doctor deliver your baby or something,
yep,
that's not a good reason.
that's
And I've
right.
had a lot of the people that I actually interviewed with and talked to about that changed
Yeah.
their minds and said, no, this isn't happening.
Look at you being a doula. You didn't even know it.
I didn't even know it. Yeah. I was just using my common sense because we see the babies when they're delivered 2 and 3 weeks early. They're not like the 40-week babies.
Right.
They're not.
Right. They're
Yeah.
not.
They're
No,
just
they're
not as mature.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're not as mature. Okay, let me
What you
see.
got?
I've got one for you. Uh, okay, you shouldn't ask for help postpartum because it's your job as a mother.
That is like a huge guilt trip.
Yeah.
Whoops, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, something popped up on my screen and there we go. And that is a huge guilt trip. Mom is
Yeah.
supposed to know everything. Mom is supposed to do everything.
Yeah.
And that just isn't the way it is. I mean, you need to feel free when you need help to say, I need help. Even if you need simple stuff like I need the laundry done,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be I need help with breastfeeding necessarily. It can be
No.
like I'm just so overwhelmed because I've got a sibling and I've got this new baby and I just don't have enough time. I'm exhausted. I need
Yeah.
help. Yeah.
Yes. And
So
and like humans did not evolve in independent communities 20 minutes apart. We evolved in close-knit communities where women would bleed together in tents every month. And when someone would have a birth, they all were there to support each other.
that's what it takes a village.
Yes.
It takes
Yeah.
a village. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've gotten a long way away from that because we're isolated, like you said. We're
Yeah.
isolated in our little houses, but it takes a village. It takes a very strong woman to
Yes.
ask for help.
Oh, I love that, Nancy.
It
Yeah.
does. It takes a
Because
very strong woman.
this
Because,
myth really is
yes.
like ingrained, it's woven into
Hmm.
our ideas of motherhood, of like, I'm the mother, I should know. Like intuitively, like just having a baby downloads a handbook into your brain.
Right, you should. Yeah, you should have that handbook already downloaded. As a matter of fact, when you get pregnant, that download should start. And so by
Right.
9 months, should know everything about the baby. And you know what? I've had clients that do know that. They
Yeah.
know everything. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
I've got like 30 years of experience. I think I know just a little bit more. Nope,
Yeah.
they know everything. And so there's that way to look at it also, is
Yeah.
that moms think, oh, I know my baby, I know everything. And it's like, yes, but we can make it so much easier for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you have one?
Oh, I do. I do. Certain foods should be avoided while breastfeeding.
Ooh.
Now, you know what I think of that one to an
Um,
extent.
well, actually, tell me what you think about that one, because I have my thoughts
Yeah,
too.
I know you, and I think our thoughts are a little bit different. No, I don't think anything should be avoided until an issue comes up.
Ah,
If an
okay.
issue comes up, like the baby is really gassy, or the baby has got a tummy ache, or the
Yeah.
baby's starting to get reflux, or something like that, then you look at your diet. Then you start keeping a diet diary,
Yeah.
and you see, oh, I had chocolate, and the next feed, my baby had a real upset tummy.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to cut chocolate out.
Yeah.
So,
This could be it's a caffeine sensitivity or something.
or caffeine is a huge one because people don't realize that caffeine goes to the baby. And guess who's going to be wide awake when you're sleeping?
Oh,
Yeah.
little
So,
one.
yeah, if you're gonna drink a cup of coffee, drink it during the day in the morning
Yep. Yep.
when you don't
I
mind being awake.
So I think that there are some things that should be avoided, but it's more for breastfeeding, right? So like it's been found that peppermint and sage, those two herbs, can decrease breast milk
Oh,
supply,
for okay, okay,
right? So I'd recommend my moms avoid those things.
okay.
Um, I
Is that like
also,
peppermint tea or peppermint candy, or is it more
right,
how much
peppermint
peppermint do you
tea.
have to have? And sage, who eats sage?
When I was working in Europe, one of my moms was prescribed by her doctor as she was trying to wean off from feeding peppermint and sage tea.
Okay, all right. Now, see, that makes
I
sense.
don't know what else you would put sage
Yeah,
in.
well, I know
Can't
you
really.
use sage for Thanksgiving, like in the dressing, you put sage in
Yeah,
the dressing. But
yeah.
other than that, the only thing I know about sage is that you hold it around, walk around the house and cleanse the house.
You can cleanse a house with it. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's okay to smell it. Um, And some
Mm,
moms are like, you know what? I'm fine. I want my peppermint tea and I'm willing
right.
to like take the risk. And I mean, is it probably okay? I'm like is probably fine.
Yeah.
Um, but if you are worried about your breast milk supply, I would say, no,
Stay away from it.
just hold out until your baby's older.
Yeah.
Um,
But you
so
don't agree with just like, say, cutting out dairy and gluten before you even know anything.
no, no. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if there's an issue first.
Yeah.
I do believe that for the first uh, 3 weeks after birth, that we want to try soft, oily, moist foods.
That's
And
the
like,
Ayurvedic thing.
yeah, that's an Ayurvedic thing. And then slowly work our way up to like crunchy cold
Yeah.
salads. But that's more to let the mother's digestive system catch up with her body, realizing that it doesn't have to be crunched anymore because the baby is out.
Well, and that has to do with it usually takes about 3 weeks. Let's say the mother is wants to get rid of this baby weight, which all mothers do. So
Yeah.
they want to eat salads.
Yeah.
It usually takes 3 weeks for that to kick in for the baby to start having digestion issues, but they
Yeah.
don't relate it back to the salad because they've been doing it for 3 weeks and nothing has happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we try to have moms be aware that it does take about 3 weeks before the baby is going to display any issues that are related to the food.
Is that with
Usually,
all the food? Like if a baby
yeah.
was 2 months old and a mom started eating a new thing, would it take about 3 weeks for the baby to display
Maybe
signs of
not.
that?
No,
Okay.
there's something about that's like babies don't get colic for the first 3 weeks.
Right,
And
right.
it can, even if they're born early, they're premature,
Yeah.
it's a 3 weeks after the adjusted age.
Yes. So once
So
they reach their due date, then you
that,
add three
then you
weeks
add 3 weeks
onto
before it
that.
will really affect them and colic will happen. So yeah, and after that, it seems like if, gosh, I had, I've had some very interesting moms. I had one mom who their main meal, and they had it like 3 times a week at least.
Yeah.
He went to the store and he bought garlic. And I mean, not a clove of garlic, a whole pallet of garlic.
Wow.
And he fried up all that garlic and then he dropped in spaghetti
Oh,
and mixed that up, and that's what they ate. And they wanted me to try it because it was, what they ate. So I was like, well, it sounds like a lot of spaghetti, but I mean, a lot of garlic, but I'll try it.
yeah.
And I was so sick that night. I was
Oh,
so sick, and so was the baby. She was breastfeeding, and so
wow.
was the baby. And she refused to not do that. So
Wow.
3 times a week, the
Okay.
baby was extremely sick. Yeah.
So there's something with the garlic for
Oh,
that baby.
garlic is, it can be, I mean, I guess in moderation it would be fine,
Yeah.
but the way they were doing it was not moderation.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So even my stomach couldn't take it. So I can understand why a baby's stomach
Mm.
would not like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one?
Okay.
Um, Postpartum depression only happens immediately after birth.
Well, we talked about postpartum in one of our last
We did.
podcasts,
We
and
did.
it actually starts anytime during pregnancy.
It can. Yes, you can
It can
start
start
getting it.
anytime during pregnancy. Usually, the last 3 or 4 months would be the greatest time. I mean, it may not start as soon as she finds out she gets pregnant, but it can
Mhm.
last. It can start anytime within the next 4 years. I said on the podcast 3, and then
Free.
I looked it up, and it's 4. 4 years it can start.
And I looked into this too, and the name of it changes. The
Okay.
cause can still go further, but after the first year, it's no longer called postpartum depression. It's called maternal depression
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
because
I guess that.
they're
Okay.
like you're past the postpartum period.
Oh, okay. And
So
I
I
did
thought that
see.
was interesting.
Yeah, I did see that it's very normal for the first year. Then
Yes.
gets very abnormal around year 4, but it does happen.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of. And some of these moms who are killing their babies that are 3 and 4 years old, and you're like, well, she's not postpartum anymore. Yeah, she probably is.
Yeah,
She probably is.
yes, post, and I would say
Psychosis. Yeah.
that exactly that extreme action
Yeah.
of um violence towards the child, that's psychosis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the rarest form.
Yeah. But it
Uh,
happens more than we know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true.
Okay. Easy one for you.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
you'll spoil your baby by holding them too much.
Oh, well, yeah, no, this is for me as a
As a
doula.
doula.
As a doula, it's an absolute no. You hold that baby as much as you want. There's no possibility of spoiling that baby. You can create expectations
Conditioning.
and conditioning, which can lead to the baby having a difficult time if you decide that the rules are going to change and now you do want to put them down now that they're 3 months old and they've been, sleeping in a wrap for every nap, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to start putting them down to sleep. Well, we've already been conditioning them that all their naps happen on our chests.
Yeah.
So there can be discomfort from the baby and thus crying and thus hard for the parents.
Yeah.
Um, but spoiling a baby, absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
no, you cannot give a baby too much love. You just have to be ready for if you're giving them so much love that you're holding them all day long, that you may be conditioning them to a way that you might not be happy with in another 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Because
Right.
you have to get to the point where you have to start living your life.
Right.
And that may not be wearing the baby 24/7. That
Right.
may be, I would really like a good night's sleep.
Right.
And the good night's sleep may not incorporate the baby into the bed.
Right.
Maybe I just want a good night's sleep. And that won't be possible if you have conditioned the baby to always be held. So
That's
there, yeah, there. So it's really interesting because some of these myths are kind of true.
you can
You
see
know,
where
you
they
can see
come
where they
from.
come from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're like, well, it's not
yeah,
like there's a basis of truth here, but the statement, if we take it as it is false.
right.
There's
Yeah,
truth inside of it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
this is interesting, just throwing this out there. During the Edwardian era,
Mhm.
so like the time of Queen Elizabeth in the 1860s, um, this idea of babies becoming independent um, really started to take form of, and I think like there was a book written for mothers around this time about like you can it was like a book of manners but for how to behave with your baby and and it was you can kiss your baby once in the morning and once before bed but you shouldn't kiss them beyond that because then you could spoil the child
Wow.
um
Oh,
like just very the baby should be left outside to cry and be exposed to the weather um, because it's good for them to get fresh air and not to be reliant on the parents. And that's where, like, if you ever watch Call the Midwife,
yeah,
that TV show, like I think in the opening credits, you see like babies left outside
yeah, and
the
they're
houses on,
prams. Yep.
yeah, on prams. And that was like started in the 1860s, kept up through a majority of the 1900s. This idea of like building independent babies.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Like,
not sure it's such a bad idea to have a baby outside. I mean,
no, no,
not
outside
to
is
leave
great.
them outside. And in England, I guess, or wherever they just do, they leave them outside right in a row. You know, like 6 or 7 prams in a row with babies, and they're sleeping, and that's okay. United States, we'd never do that. Our
No.
babies would be gone.
Yeah, well, that's true. But and in Iceland, I think you put the baby in the pram outside for a nap, make sure that they're all cozy.
Mhm.
So that's different. But I mean, like they would leave their babies outside and like despite the crying, despite the like looking for an adult, they were like left
Yeah,
to like sort it out. Um, but the whole idea was let's not get our babies dependent on us. Let's
right.
start instilling this independence from day one. So
We don't instill it from day one, but we are going more back. A lot of us are going more back to let's have a little bit more independent baby.
right,
So
right,
that's where self-soothing comes in, and that's where you don't always play with your baby. You allow your baby to explore on their own and things like that.
right. But we're nearby in case they
Yes,
need something. Yeah,
yes, yeah, always.
yeah.
Let me see. Pain after childbirth is normal and should be ignored.
Oh gosh. Again, this is a half truth, but more of a myth. Um, it's normal for there to be discomfort in the vaginal area, or wherever the baby came out. If the baby was vaginally delivered or if the baby was a C-section.
We hope there's only two ways, not wherever the
Right.
baby
I
came
mean, yeah,
out.
yeah, right. It's true. There's only two ways. But it's normal for there to be discomfort, swelling, skin likely was stretched, torn.
Right.
Discomfort is normal. If it lasts beyond, I mean, gosh, if it's lasting beyond 6 weeks, that's
It's a
definitely
long
not.
time. Yeah.
That's a very long
Yeah,
time.
that's a long
Um,
time.
it should progressively be getting better and better.
Well, and
So,
I've
yeah.
had some of my moms who have had C-sections
Mm.
who come home and they're just like 3 days out of the C-section, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to take my pain pill."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Please don't do that. Please don't do that," because apparently the pain pill builds up
yeah.
so that the pain gets better and better. But when they skip a pain pill,
Yeah.
then they throw everything off, and everything is. I've had moms just be in horrible pain, not be able to get out of bed because they skipped a pain pill. They
I
thought
have
they
too.
thought there was less than a week, but they thought I can do this. I don't need pain pills.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. No,
so pain.
layers were just cut into in order to
Right,
bring that baby out. That's
right.
take a pain pill.
Take a pain pill. Don't.
Nature did not intend for us to have 7 layers cut open,
No,
uh,
it did not.
especially without medication to help manage the pain.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
but with that, what we want to look for is like, is there swelling? Is there oozing? Is there a smell that's like, oh, that doesn't smell good? If you're noticing any of those things, even if it's at the beginning, go see your doctor,
Yeah,
right? If it's like an
absolutely.
aching or a throbbing, see if that gets better day by day.
Yeah.
Aching, throbbing, okay. See if that gets better day by day. If it doesn't get better, like if it's not progressively getting better by like the next day or the day after, call your doctor.
And that's a good thing about having a doula too, because doulas
Yes.
know, she can say to the doula, "I'm having this," and the doula can say, "Oh, that's pretty normal. Let's wait a couple days," or she can say,
Yeah,
"That's not normal at all. We need to call the doctor now."
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And that's, when we go to our friends, when we've had a baby and we go to our friends and we say, "Is this normal?" Most of our friends are not, you know, labor and delivery nurses or
Mm-hmm.
doulas, NCSs.
Yeah.
So they're just saying, "Well, that didn't happen for me." It might be totally normal, but it didn't happen for them.
Yeah.
So having a doula or an NCS is really helpful.
Yeah. It is absolutely. So you have anything else?
I think I think that oh, all right, last one. Postpartum care ends after your 6 week checkup.
I would think,
Postpartum care should end. Okay,
yeah.
you know what? Actually, I think a lot of times it really does
Yeah.
end after your 6 week checkup. But I think this should be that postpartum care should end after your 6 week checkup.
I kind of don't agree with that. I would think it would take longer than 6 weeks for the body to heal.
A hundred
You
percent.
you would start exercising maybe at 6 weeks
Mhm.
gradually.
Yes.
You can start having sex again at 6 weeks,
Yeah.
carefully.
Yeah.
But as far as it ending at 6 weeks, no, I would think the first year,
Yeah.
that's like moms who want to get pregnant right away again. It's like, no, no, no. Let your body heal. Let your body get used to this new position before you get pregnant again. Give it a
Yeah.
couple of years. And I did 2.5 years between my babies, but I think 2 years is optimal. Is that correct?
I
Or is it
believe
more than that?
I think that is optimal.
Yeah.
Um, or is it 18 months? Um, it's probably 2 years. Uh, but also as doulas and as NCSs, it's not our job to tell parents when they should or shouldn't get pregnant, but it would be easiest on the body
On the body, on their body.
to give
Yeah.
it that time, to give
Have you
it
ever,
at
have you ever
least,
seen a mom who's had like 10 kids
oh yeah.
and how haggard they are? And I don't think it's just from all the work that they do, because usually the older kids are starting to do the work by the time that they have, but it's from having all these babies so close.
Yeah.
Their health just can't catch up with them. They can't be radiant anymore. They just
No.
look haggard.
And I've seen Instagram moms who have like 5 or 6 kids and they look amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that happens.
Well, they got a lot of makeup on. They're on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But so like you look at the pictures from like, the older photographs of the moms on the farm and you're like, "Oh, look, it's all these kids with their grandma." But it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's their mom."
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's a really interesting point. Yeah, when we don't give our body, and this isn't to say that women will not be beautiful if they have a lot of kids.
No, but
I
just
don't want
think of
that to
yourself. Take care of yourself. You want to be
absolutely
around to see your grandkids.
right, right. Giving the body time to heal is a very loving thing to
Yeah,
do
I agree with that.
ourselves and our families.
Um,
And
I,
that's all
I,
for me.
just a minute. I think I want just a minute. I want to make sure. Oh,
You got one more?
you want to talk about sex?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes,
Okay. Sex is subpar postpartum and pain is normal. That's the myth.
that's the myth. Yeah. I think that is common, and I think it is not normal. Common, not normal. Um, I if there's one thing that I could have all of the moms that I work with do, it would be see a pelvic floor specialist.
Oh, you know what? I just got done with a pelvic floor specialist. I have been
Yes.
to see her for like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah,
They're amazing people. Don't
amazing.
ever be afraid to get pelvic floor work done. It was eye-opening and amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And you can get it done at any point. It's it's a trauma on
Hmm.
the body and especially on the pelvic floor, right? You've
Hmm.
had this heavy 8 pound object, this beautiful, precious baby, but we can call it an object like pushing down on your pelvic floor,
Right.
you know, day and night. And it's regardless of whether you push the baby out or the baby's delivered through C-section. So if you're peeing when you sneeze, if you're peeing when you like walk briskly, if there's pain at all during sex, these are all great reasons to see a pelvic floor therapist
Yes,
because you don't
absolutely.
have to live with it. It can be fixed.
Oh, absolutely. And one other thing that needs to be mentioned here is that your estrogen levels are changing, so you
Yeah.
can have vaginal dryness. And
Ooh,
vaginal dryness does make things more painful also. So that's
yes.
something that you have to address with your OBGYN, or
Yeah.
I don't know if pelvic floor helps that.
Since it's a hormone issue,
Probably
I'd
not.
imagine that you're right. It would
Yeah.
be your primary doctor.
Yeah.
Um, and in the meantime, if you do want to have sex, lube, you
Lube
know,
it up, baby.
you may be used to not needing to use it, but it might be really helpful after
Yeah.
because of the changing estrogen levels.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have uncovered some of the myths, some of the stranger myths, I think. One site had like 50 myths, and I thought, wow. And I read through them and I thought, oh, I always knew that. Oh, I always knew that. So we just kind of took the ones that we thought were the weirdest.
Wait, Nancy, which one
Yeah.
was the one that you said you teach in class?
The breastfeeding, the taking,
Oh,
avoiding the food. I teach in class that you should if the baby is reacting.
yes.
But
Okay.
not just generally. Mom's going to breastfeed. Okay, we're going to cut off all these foods. She's not going to eat. I just say, eat whatever you want.
Yes.
Just eat normal and then keep a diary of it. And if the baby starts reacting, then we can go back and figure out what it is.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. That's a very sane way to go about it.
I think I'm pretty sane.
Yeah.
There's some
All
people that
right,
don't agree. Okay,
everybody, we are going to sign off now.
and
Have a
we'll see.
beautiful week.
Yep, we'll see you next time. Hopefully, you enjoyed this and be sure to like us and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Have a
Okay, bye
good
bye.
one. Bye.